Hey guys, it's an awesome episode today. We're talking about knowing your numbers when it comes to marketing. What can I do to make myself more money? What can I do to spend less money in marketing? Jeff's got some great ideas. We cover this today. Stick around and listen.
All right, you got to know your numbers, Luke. Let's go.
All right.
Sales, man. Sales, acquisitions. Let's talk about that. How are you getting your leads right now, Luke? Where are you finding them? What do you think the number one sources are in today's day and age?
Big gorillas and smoke signals are the way to do it, I think.
Yeah.
No, we've been focused for the last 5 years on a TV branding campaign. And a majority of our, traditional advertising was in TV.
Okay.
Spending, anywhere from $2,500 to $3,000 a month.
Wow.
And we use TrueCar, as an outside person. Carfax. We were on Car Gurus years ago. They jacked their prices, so we left them. We haven't any loss in that. But we've been here for 34 years this year. So it's we have a huge reputation, and most of our sales are referrals and repeats. But the one thing about referrals and repeats is you have to have a program in place, which we do. But also every once in a while they need to be reminded that you're around. Mm-hmm. And so to me, branding is very important in that aspect of TV ads, that you stay top of mind. With that being said, we have shut TV off going into this year.
Okay.
And we wanted to try something new.
Okay.
We know TV works.
Okay.
But we want to be more online. And we've been online. We advertise Facebook, and our website is great. We use a lot of Google Analytics type stuff to really, push people to our website. Mm-hmm. But what we've done this year is gone in with a local advertising, not a local advertising company. It's a company that owns one of the television stations, and they have a digital package, and it's retargeting, it's banner ads and all this. And so we actually filmed last week for that advertising medium. So that's where we've gone to this year. And I don't know. I don't know if it's going to work, but it's something different. And I think
banner ads on affiliate channels, or on they have owned.
No, so they own a bunch of things, but it's more retargeting. So they'll build a demographic for us, and everybody should know their demographic, who they sell to. And they will attack them on Facebook, on social media, and then they will follow them. Okay. So that's where we are. Not necessarily, we're not taking banner ads on the news site. We're taking banner ads to wherever that customer goes that we are actually tracking.
Right. Yeah. So it'll show up in the fold or in the top or the side of some website that has the hook, the connection with whatever advertising agency you guys are running through.
Sure. And also apps.
Space.
Yeah. Also apps. You can advertise within apps, and it'll do that.
Yeah. So what I want to talk about, and I kind of want to keep this very high level, because I think we could get into each one of these channels very deep. We could talk very much about, running infomercials, at night to the Spanish clientele, and how that's the best use of your money in some markets, and how you feel right now that you're going to go digital and you think banner ads and programmatic retargeting is the way to go. Other people could argue that, anyways, we could go down each one of these avenues, and we should definitely do that in the future. But let's talk overall from a high level. How do you gauge that effectiveness and the best ad dollar? Because that's really what we're talking about, right? Is bang for buck. And if you were getting bang for buck through television ads, and you knew that for every, $3,000 that you spent, you got what? You'd have to get 10 customers. What's your acquisition per sale? What's your acquisition per application? Are these numbers that as dealers we need to know from every source, right?
Sure. The biggest problem with spending money in advertising is figuring out where it works, right? So you've got to build something inside your dealership. Most people CRMs will do it. We use the CRM. We also use the a spreadsheet that we built that number one keeps track with how many ups you got. And you've got to define what an up is. And so let's say right now let's just throw a number out there. Let's say I've got 100 ups this month, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how many of those 100 ups are we selling?
Yeah.
That's number one. So if I had 100 ups consistently without doing any marketing or doing the marketing I'm currently doing,
Mm-hmm.
if I spend money somewhere else, what happens?
Right.
So that's number one. So if I'm not doing, let's say I'm not doing anything and I have 50 ups every month, okay? But then I go and I spend $2,000 on a TV campaign per month. Well, did it take it from 50 to 100? That would be my question.
Mm-hmm.
So if it did, well, and my closing percentage stayed the same, I probably did all right, right?
Right. Yeah. So you got 50 ups and you're closing at 50%. You just spent, you got 25 additional sales, right?
Right. So that's great. But if you spent $2,000 a month and you got 60
Mm-hmm.
ups instead of 100, then you got a problem.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
If it gave you 10 ups and you're still closing those 10 at 50%, because I definitely think that all ups are not created equal. You definitely have to look at, okay, not only what is my lot traffic, but what is my closing ratio on those applications? And that's probably one of the big arguments against Facebook Marketplace is they're going to say, hey, yeah, I get a ton of tire kickers and I get a ton of non-qualifieds. What's the point? All of a sudden my ups went to 100 because I'm counting each of these contacts through Facebook as maybe a potential application that I filled out, but I'm closing them at like 5%.
Well, I think you should definitely split your lot ups compared to an internet up. They're two different things.
Okay.
And you need to count both. We count, lot ups are people that actually walk on the lot. Now, did they come from the internet? Yeah, we can judge that too. But if you're seeing 100 lot ups a month and you're seeing 100 internet leads a month, that's two totally different people.
Yeah. And so what if we break that down by applications and say, okay, well, let's just talk applications then. How many applications did we take and what was that source, Because that's a physical, hey, this guy wants a car. I took an application. I'm trying to get him approved somewhere, whether it's in-house, buy here, pay here, outside. And just the quality of apps that I'm getting from my, television commercial or my direct mail marketing response is just not good. And I'm only closing those at 10%. So what's my effective cost per sale? Is that really the bottom line? What does it cost you to acquire a customer?
Yeah. And, everybody should know that number. Ours is like, I think a lead was like $40, something to that effect. And, what does it cost per deal sold? I think we were at $140, something to that effect. Now I spend a little more money than I probably should advertising.
No, I think, and to jump on that, I looked at NIADA's composite numbers. Your typical advertising, acquisition of customers, about $208.
Yes. Okay.
If I'm right. So
we've
that's
run
your average people are spending to acquire a customer.
Yeah. I think we've run anywhere from 142, 48 up to 193. I think that's the top we've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't see much difference in the 193 compared to the 150. So we've come back down to that.
Mm-hmm. You feel like your applications, your sales are staying the same. So sometimes spending a little bit more to get that customer is not a direct payoff.
Sure, because
depending on your avenue, right? I mean, you look at something like television, you spent $3,000 a month and say that was a $200 lead. That's what, an extra 15 sales a month? What if you'd spent $6,000?
And it can work. But you've got to weigh you've got to know your numbers, and you've got to weigh what's worth it and what's not, just like we're talking about.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the bottom line, and that's really what I want to drive home in this one is we've got to track what we expect, right? I mean, you ask anybody, do you know how much money's in your bank account right now, both at your dealership and personally? Yeah, that, you track it. Do you know what you spent last month, both at the dealership and at your household? Yeah. Do you know how many dollars you literally have in your wallet? Yeah, you probably keep track of that number. you know where those come from, you know what you're spending. So why are we not doing that with our ups, our applications, and our sales? Why are we not tracking where those come from? And I think that's what we really need to drive home is like, did you know that this lead, you're so in love with direct mail, but each one of those sales is costing you about $300 per sale. Whereas if you were to double down on your, let's say, banner ads or your retargeting, those leads are costing you $100 per sale. Like,
Right.
we've got to know that, right?
You do. And that's, that's a one issue with TV and radio and a lot of traditional things like that is unless you have a true landing page for, people you're pushing via that way, sometimes it's hard to track. I can tell you that 70% of our customers come from repeat and referrals. I can tell you that number, but how many of those people who repeats and referrals actually came back to us because they saw us on TV? So sometimes it's hard to really get a good grasp on that. Although with internet advertising, you can get a really dialed down exact, this customer came from here, this is how much it's cost me. Car Guru's very simple. If the lead comes in, you know where it came from, right? TrueCar, if the lead came in, you know where it came from. Auto Trader probably is about the same. Now, don't get me wrong, every once in a while people will walk in and you kind of have to dig a little further, but that's part of your sales process.
Yeah, I think it's salesman training. And to your bigger point, you don't always know the difference between your marketing and your advertising, right?
Right.
You're advertising and you're pushing directly towards a car, whereas yes, with your television, you are more branding and you're just putting your name out there, and that may push them towards your internet site. It may push them towards your Car Guru's listing. It may push them towards, or at least when they see your name on that Car Guru listing, they're going to click on yours because of the brand recognition from your television ad. So is it fair to let those types of mediums get away with that? Like, is it fair for TV and radio and direct mail to say, oh, well, we're more branding, it's more top of mind awareness. So you need to spend money with us, even though you can't pinpoint any one sale that came from that radio campaign. You need to spend with us because it's top of mind.
What you can do is this. You can look at what times you ran your TV spots, your radio spots, and it should be a direct correlation to traffic on your website. And if that's not happening, it's not working. Your message isn't right or something's wrong. And that's hard to do sometimes. It's hard to have the right message.
Mm-hmm.
You think you know your clientele when maybe you don't. If you run an ad and it doesn't work, you don't see it. Well, it may not be the medium, it may be your message. So you've got to sometimes you got to dial, got to turn the dial a little bit to figure out what's going on. But there always should be a direct correlation between when your ad runs and your website traffic.
Yeah, that's true. And I think to your point of it's not always the medium, it's the message. I talk to a lot of people, and I'm a pretty big fan of running Facebook campaigns and specifically inside of Ads Manager. And I'll talk to some dealers and they're like, oh, we tried, running Facebook ads and it doesn't work. And, when I dial down into it, I say, no. What you did was you put a picture of a car on your page and you boosted it for $20.
Yeah, that's not it.
That's not advertising. That's not Facebook. That's just getting in someone's way, and hoping that guy saw your white minivan and decided that's what he wanted. So huge is message, but even better than that, we do need to create ways to track these things, right? We need to make sure we're using our Google Analytics and our Facebook Pixel. And if you're running a TV ad, why not push them to a separate landing page or push them to a separate phone number that you can get for free? Why not make your direct mail a call to action that is physically brought into you, and you're tracking those, just like you're tracking your referrals, right? If you're going to pay a referral to someone, you know exactly who sent you 3 referrals this year. You know exactly who sent you 4 referrals and who those real fanatics of your business are.
Sure. Not the ones just want $100.
Yeah. And even those. And that's what I really find is interesting. I look at some of the new mediums and I've kind of shied away from radio for quite a while because I feel it's such a shotgun approach to marketing and advertising. you know, where if I can't narrow myself down to my exact demographic and get real specific with whom I'm putting my message in front of, and I think that as a consumer, man, you know, you're bombarded with so much. You get so many radio and Facebook ads and Instagram and banner ads and everything else that's being served to you daily by someone who thinks you're interested. If that can't break through and speak to me, I'm not paying attention to it.
I agree.
But if it jumps out and says, "Hey, are you a 37-year-old male in Southern Utah that likes to go outdoors?" Well, yes, you're right. I am. What do you got for me? You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm going into those messages more, and they're getting my attention, more so than just kind of
Well,
the
that
spray and pray method.
that goes back to your topic of how did you send that message? Is it just a car? Did I just boost a car? That's the same thing. So it's just why would I just go boost a car on Facebook and hope that the right person is scrolling through Facebook at the right time to see that car I want?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. And people tune it out. People tune out radio commercials. People tune out TV commercials because it doesn't apply to them.
Yeah.
So it's hard. But if you target the right people, which you can do with Facebook, you can do with Google, you can do with retargeting, and know those people are in the market for a car, and you send them the right message, of course, that's going to be the best bet. Don't there's no need for me to want to advertise to bad credit people. There's no need for me to advertise on CNBC.
Oh,
Probably
yeah.
not going to work, right? So know your medium, know what you're doing, and find a way to quantify it. If you can't quantify it, don't spend the money doing it.
Yeah, and that is what's interesting. We're in a very unique business model where most of us are limited by our physical, geographic location. So there are some of these mediums that are too broad for us. Most of us deal probably within a 50 or 100-mile radius of our dealership, depending on how big our city is. Some of them might be a 1 or 2-mile radius in these big cities. How do you specifically get at those people in your area? And that medium, the marketing message is the variable. We actually have a full-time in-house social media marketing person. That's a position I brought in 2 years ago, where I said, look, I don't want to trust other people to put together my message. I don't want to pay every time I want a video made or a 30-second infomercial that I want to run on pre-roll Google or pre-roll YouTube. I want it done in-house because I want to change that message every Monday morning. So we brought them in, and they come here and they film and they do videos, and we do shticks, and we try to provide some entertainment through any of our sources, whether it be direct mail, radio, Google, and all those areas. I think that's something that everyone needs to look at, like you're really just trying to get people's attention, right?
That's it.
And that's ultimately it.
I love the idea of having somebody in the house doing that. We rely on me for some creative stuff, and my wife Alexa, she comes from marketing background, so she has it. She knows what to do. We have hired a person here locally that handles our social media with our creative thought process.
Mm-hmm.
But I rely on our sales staff to do some videos and things like that. But you definitely need to do the videos. You need to brand yourself out there, and you need to have a good message. And the message needs to change often, like you're talking about. That's awesome.
So if I were to wrap this up, Luke, in kind of a summary, I think for us as dealers, we need to know, what is an effective message for our market? You really got to think, who is your target demographic? How am I going to reach that person? How do I put myself in their shoes so that I can market to them? B, what avenues are they looking at? Where am I going to get in front of them? C, what is that going to cost me to get in front of them? What is that going to cost me per sale, per lead? And then fourth, is that perpetual? Can I double down on that? Can I triple down on it? What's the depth of that market? Hey, I've completely tapped it out after X amount of sales, and now I need to move on to something else. Or no, this is an avenue that's working for me. I'm just going to go really, really deep into Facebook Marketplace, and I'm getting all the sales I need at the right cost per sale. So I think really dealers all want to know what the silver bullet is. What is it? Car Gurus? Is it, one of these websites that's just going to start feeding them leads every day because they turned on the spigot, or is it the dealers have really got to dig into it and say, yeah, I gotta know my numbers.
That's number one. Know your numbers. And you and I, being in 20 groups, we're forced to know our numbers, right? And that's it. Know your numbers. Track everything you possibly can track. And you may not track it all right now, but as you go along, you'll find something else that you need to track and do it. And then, turn on another medium, turn it off, depending on, see what happens.
Okay, I like it, Luke. Thanks, everybody. We'll wrap this up. I think we'll probably get into some of these avenues in depth, man. I really like your ideas. I mean, I'd love to talk to you more about your referral program, and we can discuss some of these new mediums and how to get out there on them best. But we'll save that for another episode. Luke, you got anything to say in signing off?
That's it, Jeff. Thanks a lot, buddy.